County and the Republic of those whose interest you have committed to our charge. Amen. They will
that the evidence I shall give before this committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Great. Welcome again to this session, Dr. Arero. Can you kindly, the committee is mandated to vet the nominee for the position of livestock and fisheries development. Your presence before this committee of 2017 and Marsabit County Assembly Standing Order 42. So this session, I'm just taking you the introduction part of how.
My name is Siba Haina. I'm Deputy Leader of Majority, Chairperson Equal Opportunity Committee, and member to this committee.
My name is
to declare at this point. Members, please. Anyone? Perfect. So there's no conflict of interest to declare, but I would like also to welcome you as a candidate nominee. I'm
comfortable with the members.
In that case, we can continue. So the committee will consider the procedure used, the constitutional requirements relating to offices to which you are nominated to, and the suitability of. We will not expect any exchange between you and any candidate personally, at the personal level. So all questions should be directed to me as a chair. And we have provided you writing materials. Do you have any pen? We just want to know and also indicate your ethnicity, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair and honorable members.
Have you ever been convicted by court of law? No. What is your net worth?
Approximate and of course some small cash.
Do you have any business?
Yes, I do. I occasionally do livestock business.
So, Dr. Arero,
Yes.
can you define to me what zoonotic diseases are? Zoonotic diseases. What is zoonotic disease?
Specialized critically in the areas of food security and livelihood, with over 15 years experience in both humanitarian and public, and where I managed the emergency veterinary support program worth around $750,000 per year for people, contributing of course to food security and livelihood. Then the other expatriate positions I served in Somalia with Action Against Hunger between 2018 to end of 20 programs, food security and livelihood programs for multiple donors, USAID, DFID, then from FAO, from Danida, SND, all these kind of things. So I USD projects, programs for a period of like 4 years. 7.5 million annually. And of course, 3 of the positions international, where I was head of office based in Marsabit during the drought of 2010-2011, where I managed the funded program of around £650,000, focusing in emergency programming in the areas of animal health, water, Then the other position I served was with the ACD Ivoca as a regional manager here in Marsabit County, and I oversaw livestock value chain, one being the market, development of the market infrastructures in this county, starting from Merile to Moyale, around 7, 8, 9 livestock markets in this county. Emergency programs focusing on animal health, emergency aid, a little bit of water development, and also cash transfer. So overall, for foundations for development during the first devolution, overseeing the whole transitions from experience in human resource management, experience in financial management during all those years, and also in policy development because members. So that is who Dr. Arero is, and those are my small bit of experience in this sector of food security and livelihood. Question?
This kind of diseases, and if so, what types of diseases, what particular type of disease did you have experience in the Marsabit County, and what are ways in which
the floods, occasional floods that we experience in this county? There is brucellosis transmitted through milk, and then there is cysticercosis. We experienced outbreaks of rabies in this county. And sorry to say that even, was it some 2-3 weeks ago, there were cases for rabies. We need to come up with an elaborate prevention and control strategy against the rabies. And one is percent of the cats and dogs population in this county. So that's one strategy that we use. Then the other public health messaging on the dangers of this disease, so that the public can avoid the contact between the dogs or wild dogs and cats, washing the wound sites and all those kind of things, and inject also the patients with the immunoglobulins, and also inject the anti-rabies vaccine. So veterinarians, so those who work the herders, and they can be vaccinated against these diseases on a regular basis.
Okay.
Yeah.
At this point now,
state actors, and it should be reflected on the ground. What's your view on this?
Yes. It is true that the departments get a lot of support, particularly through donor-funded programs. And we do understand that a lot of money, of course, since independence and even before, a lot of money has been pumped into this sector, particularly by the donor community, and the impact, it's a little bit minimal. For one is the top-down approach model. The donors employ top-down approach model. There is minimal baseline. They identify the needs of these communities. It's critical. Baseline surveys are not done. There's minimal participation of the communities. So the program, most of the time, is a give and take. You have this problem from the top, that we have counties, and we have departments of public participations, we have governments, we have the relevant departments, of course, headed by professionals. As much as possible, we will advocate the donors to promote the public engagement of the relevant department in the address the actual needs of these communities. That's one. Then, of course, these donor funds are string attached. And if a donor say they want to fund a cross-border program, we have no option, we take it. So if a donor say they want to fund an emergency program, we take it. Some fund, and then the same community is also big supported by the REGOL AG, Resilience Economic Growth by ACDI VOCA. So all these Resilience Economic Growth by ACDI VOCA. So all these programs are supported. So there is some level of sequencing and layering. This has been
relate. You have experience for over many years.
Yes.
But this experience document for over 15 years.
Yes.
And the position you are going to have in case you are given this position of chief of staff.
I really appreciate, because having looked at even the advert, one of the requirements was a candidate with over 10 years experience. That's one. And then I also have the relevant educational background, which is a bachelor's degree in veterinary medicines, and also experience in, of course, an educational background based on my years of experience. And in the long run, what we did is the service for our people. So I'm really passionate to serve in these positions. The governor for nominating me to serve specific areas where my expertise is really needed to modernize livestock sector. Yeah.
I have to, just to add weight on that. You mentioned you are the chief officer.
Yes.
In the previous government.
Yes.
So that's, and what are those challenges the department is facing now? And how will you be able to engage us or engage the department, ensure that we overcome those kind of challenges from your experience?
The onset of devolution, of course, as a pioneer chief officer from 2014 to 2017, I've managed to interact with the program strategic documents of the department, one being CIDP. I was involved in development of the first CIDP and development of also the second CIDP. And also I happened to also participate in the review of CIDP 2018-2022 and also. And there was growth and achievement in almost all the sectors. So that's one challenge that I noted. So with those experiences, I'll critically look of the sector. In line with the Maputo Declaration of 2003, the agriculture, livestock and fisheries sector is supposed to get a minimum. There was a commitment in the declaration that the sector is supposed to get a minimum of 10% monies from the exchequer. But check how much this sector is really allocated. All the way from the first, I analyzed from the first county government, the second, and even, I'm not sure of the third, but this year, because I'm not seen experience, first to lobby and advocate with the executive and also this committee for an increment in the allocations for this sector, so that we address the enormous need in terms of emergencies and also in terms of with the donors and international communities to mobilize for extra resources. I was there during the first county government when we lobbied and advocated for even the current that is being donor-funded programs like Climate Smart, RP, DRLSP, RPLRP, KFW, ASD. So I was involved in the initial design, and I've even some better networks and connections and conversant with the funding environment. So I'll mobilize for more resources for the department from the donor community and bilateral institutions. That's one. Then the other aspect, the other area that I'll also critically look at is policy development. During the early years of devolution, there were delayed domestications of national policies. And most of the even policies, livestock-related policies that were developed at the county level were in draft stage. I'm happy to note that some of those policies have been passed, and there are also some bills that are lying before the Assembly. So I'll utilize these policy documents to advocate or mobilize more resources for the department using these policy documents. Then the other challenge is the challenge of the drought. The challenge of drought, which has depleted water resources, depleted pasture resources, and in the long run, also depleted our livestock. We've lost to 45%, 50%, some even say there are no exact figures, but we've lost quite a huge number of our livestock, particularly cattle and sheep, which are grazers. We're going to address, come up with climate resilience programs, so that we address, minimize the impact of the drought. And in the livestock sector, one is strengthening the existing early warning system and providing this early warning information to our communities so that they do livestock offtake on a timely manner. But the major problem in terms of this early warning information is the information is actually not reaching the relevant people, the end users. We have NDMA collecting this information. We have information from Kenya Meteorological Department. We have information from Kenya Food Security Steering Groups. These informations are just on papers. The informations are not actually reaching to the real beneficiaries. So how do we come up with strategies for messaging this information so that it reaches the right beneficiaries, particularly through the network of local FMs we have? So that every evening after the news, they take like 5-10 minutes to air issues around whether they provide the communities with weather climate info, livestock insurance, commercial livestock offtake, destocking, and as such.
Sorry, I know you've gone.
Yes, then the issue of the diseases, of course, livestock disease, will come up with an elaborate mitigation plan. We have livestock marketing. So,
so you have really exhausted. Like, that is sufficient for the members to make the decision. So we'd like also another member to continue the question.
Yes, through the chair, Mr. or Doctor.
Yes.
Dr. Algano.
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
That's it.
You have been nominated for this position.
Yes.
Why do you want this job?
One, I want this job because I have relevant educational background. That is Bachelor of Veterinary Medicine degree and also Master's in Project Planning and Management. And using this skill, I feel that I can contribute for economic development, livestock economic development, so that we address the poverty and other needs at the household level. That's one, and then both with the humanitarian actors and also with the public sector. So I feel I have necessary educational background and necessary experience to drive livestock economy for addressing the issues of poverty and household food security.
When you're given a question, feel free to address.
Okay.
Not necessarily the moment. Okay. Next.
Through the chair, Ms. Dr. Reno,
Yes.
being elected for successfully for chief officer of the livestock department.
Yes.
Do you know any laws that govern the public finance management?
Yes. One of the law, Chair, is PFM Act of 2012, and then Public Procurement and Disposal Act of 2015. Then there is also Constitution of Kenya. There is also County Government Act, Chapter 11 of 2012. Yeah, those are some of the acts and that we use to govern the financial management.
If you check the feasibility study which was done by NGO, we have lost like 80% of commodity, 69% of sheep. In fact, we don't have now cattle. My question is, what practical solution are you going to provide so that they can be cushioned if such solution arises? Like we have, let's say we don't have because of experience in livestock, you have been working with both the donors and the colonial government. What practical solution? Because Marsabit County, the community, the communities are livestock. They are pastoralists.
Thank you. The practical solution that I propose is investment in water infrastructures, water harvesting. It is just we've been trying in this county. So we need to invest in massive water harvesting and enhance further productions at some of those within this county. And I'm happy to report that during the first 8 bright spots for sped irrigations, where huge volumes of water are harnessed and then support the same for food and fodder productions. So the other aspect is we need to change, invest in our communities to come up with a grazing management plan, so that, of course, strengthen the community institutions, community-based institutions like the council management plan, so that our livestock do not just graze in the rangeland haphazardly. So there has to be a dry season grazing area. So we need to promote some level of mobility between the dry season grazing area and the wet season grazing area. So our investment needs to consider. Then the other aspect is we need to change our production system. We are keeping a huge number of livestock for social prestige. In the long run, so we need to really sensitize our communities to keep sizable number of livestock, and in the long run preserve the ecosystem health and all these kind of things. And in Nanyuki and some parts of the coast can also be done equally here, if we really want to turn commercial and benefit from this livestock sector. So, and then we also need to invest in animal health, because with the drought and the floods and heavy rains, there comes an emergency, promoting regular disease surveillance, and also investment in disease control and enhance also the private sector engagement. I'm happy we have SIDAI here. Sometimes around 2012, when I was working for care,
locals of this county are predominantly livestock keepers.
yes.
Therefore, the services of your services and that of your team being a veterinary doctor, because the locals who are keeping animals are at the remote areas. Anyway, that is what I hope and pray that my questions comes. Dr. Arero, what are some of the functions that are related to the portfolio you have been nominated to? And
thank you. So, Chair, one of the functions, according to the 4th schedule of Constitution, which involves active engagement of community disease reporters, or even active surveillance through establishment of laboratory. So disease control is one of the model in the market. So that's a devolved function. Then the other function is extension messaging on good livestock husband of the pastoralist is one of the critical functions which was devolved. Then the other one is public health, which is committees can develop their own specific policies. So livestock related policies is also part of devolved functions, and then implementations of also the policies from the national government is also a devolved. Yes.
Honorable Adi.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, let's continue.
Oh, you have
Yes.
Yeah. Having had county, now who is, in case you want to go up to bring your case, maybe, who is our current?
Kimutai.
Yeah. That's good. Now you can go ahead. Thank you.
Those irrigation areas that we can use for irrigation in future. Or what? And then another question about the same. Was there any action that was taken following that? Another question. While you were the chief officer for livestock, and my next question is, what would you say is a major challenge to livestock in Marsabit County and livestock production? What is a major challenge?
So areas where Mekele University identified as bright spots for water harvesting. Critical area that was identified is the Balang, past Elgade. There is a spot there, a very bright spot, a huge volume of water, and then that's one of the areas. Then the other area in Moyale is the DF Garba corridor. Garba corridor. Then there is this area still in Moyale sub-county, Kinisa, Golbo. Two spots have been identified there. There is a site which are potential for water harvesting and further production. Then coming back to Laisamis, Saudor is one of the bright spots. Malgis River, it's one of the identified spots, and then some areas also around Gudas. Those are some of the spots that were identified. And then a spot was also identified, engaged the county water officers, county public health officers, to come up with the BOQs, the cost estimates of that, in addition to and that is actually a report, the BOQs and the report that we shared with the German GIZ, GTZ or GIZ, and support and humanitarian support. That the current KFW program. It's on that basis that we advocated the same report plus the BOQs to the 2 years. We're going to have 1 or 2 or 3 of those spots targeted for harvesting. That's what we did with the report. Then the second question, please.
Oh, the second question is while you were.
I oversaw a smooth transition process between the national government and the county government. Of course, there were push and pull in terms of transfer of functions. We expected in provided leadership in development of strategic documents and policies. One is the first county integrated development plan. That was 2015 to 2025, a 10-year strategic plans for this sector. In addition to a number of policy documents like Marsabit County Livestock Policy, which was fundraising from bilateral institutions, from World Bank, from African Development Bank. Current climate smart agriculture was actually designed when I was a chief officer, and I spent like 2-3 weeks designing the program then. The KFW project, which is around $1.3 billion US, Kenya shilling. Then a number of other projects, and I provided critical role in terms of coordinations of the stakeholders of the sector. My major achievements is investment in livestock marketing. Was really done during my time, and specifically is the establishment of beef. Came actually and copied from our county the designs of those livestock market, which was actually a good start in terms of modernizing our livestock sector, so that people can really have an opportunity to really dispose of, undertake regular commercial. Those marketing initiatives we really developed.
Last question, Chair.
Yes.
What are some of the initiatives for sustainable food security measures that started being a food security? I think now, with your experience, we should consider you a food security and livelihood expert.
Yes.
So, what are these initiatives that you might have started, or what are to help the communities? What are some of these initiatives that concern food security, and are they sustainable? Which are the sustainable measures?
Of course, one is investment in one critical area that we really need to focus to build the food security of our people is messaging, providing public or messaging to our people to really keeping livestock for social prestige to really move commercial from free range system to sort of ranching settled system. It's one strategy that we really need to embrace as a department, and I'll have to recommend that. Then the other aspect is investment. That is in terms of regular providing resources for regular vaccinations, providing resources for surveillance, and in the long run, active disease surveillance at the county level for timely response, timely detection of diseases, and ensure timely response. So investment in the animal health infrastructure, both by private sector support and also public sector support, is really a critical strategy so that we protect our livestock assets from diseases. Then investments in fodder productions. Fodder productions on a commercial, on large scale commercial. Possibly we can propose a large fodder production programs for areas like around Mount Marsabit, areas around Mount Kulal, areas around Saudor, areas around Uri Hills, areas around also the Moyale Sololo escarpment, around the escarpment. So we need to invest in this so that we have enough fodder resources to support our livestock during emergencies.
Sorry for interrupting.
Yes.
My question was, have we initiated these processes before? And to what extent have the community benefited from your expertise in food security?
Of course, we initiated a number of programs, and it's a journey we started during the first county government. And one of the programs that we initiated was, of course, I said, livestock investment in the livestock health infrastructure. It's one. That is operationalizations of sustainable model of animal health service delivery that we started sometimes back in 2020. So I went specifically engaged SIDAI and supported them to establish a regional drug supply center in this town, and then identified private veterinarians, those certificate holders, diploma holders, to establish franchise agrovet in most of the remote ASAL areas, Uri Hills, one in Sololo, then there is one in Kargi, Shur. So those areas. So already this program has ensured that the pastoralists have access to quality veterinary services, quality veterinary drugs at really affordable prices. They are really enjoying, although there are some weaknesses here and there. So it's one program that we initiated. Then the other program was livestock marketing programs that we supported the establishment of markets in Merile, in Kor, in part of Torbi, Forole, then Moyale, Dabel, and all this. So we've initiated this, and as a result, pastoralists have started going commercial. They have taken livestock to those centers, they sell their livestock, and they get some cash. So this is a way of also controlling the populations of livestock in those areas. So has reduced to some extent the pressure on the environment and also improved the money or at the income at the household level.
Honorable Adi.
Thank you. Through the chair, Dr. Herrero,
Yes.
I have a brief two questions.
Yes.
Again, around livestock market.
Yes.
You've clearly told us they were livestock market. They were, but at the moment, only Merile and then Moyale is functioning. What could be the causes of failure, and how will you strategize to revive this? Because at the moment, our pastoralists don't have. They stock their livestock, the sheep and camels and cattle, but then there is no value because when they take to Nairobi again, they don't get value for their money. The second question is on animal health. There is this disease outbreaks, but in Marsabit County, it's not handled well. So what could be the reason? Because I personally feel there are less veterinary doctors and there are no medications to tackle. Communities have their crude ways of doing things. So like for bronchopneumonia for goats and sheep, when it happens, it just swipes everything. So how do you tackle this? Because it's pertinent to us.
Dr. Before you ask the other, I want to add one more question for the member.
So that you can just write and then you can take your time. I
Have
can
you-
see you have
have you-
elaborate
have you-
answers.
Have you taken a note of her question? Very well.
Yes, yes. One is around livestock market.
Wonderful.
Then the other one is around a disease outbreak
Yes.
and the slow level of response.
That one.
Hmm.
and then
Another one is here, Dr. Herrero.
Yes.
You have been the chief of staff for the other regime.
Yes.
There was a abattoir,
Yes.
which was at 90%.
Yes.
We came up, when the former governor came up with this abattoir,
Yes.
the reason why the Honorable Adi is asking about the market is the reason why you went all the way to Germany, I remember, and Addis Ababa. This is how you came up with this abattoir. This project has been installed for now, almost now 7 years. What plans, once you are appointed to this office, what the county government, Marsabit, and you know how abattoir is helping. When we visited, I was one of the members in that trip. All the animals from Marsabit County in Addis Ababa is from Marsabit County, 96%. It has even our, what do we call it? Those, what plans, how would you advise this government to stall for this whole project of ours, which has for almost now 8 years?
Wonderful. Go ahead.
Thank you. So through the chair, the questions around the functionality of markets. Yes, it is true that possibly only Merile and Moyale, which are big markets, at the is really functional. There are factors which affect markets, which influence livestock marketing in this country. And I also happen to factors influencing livestock marketing in Marsabit County, a case of Merile livestock market. And during this study, I noted some 4 or 5 factors as one of the as purposes. So market is a factory, and the factory without raw material, of course, will automatically break down. So are our people really will? Our people are actually not willing. So socioeconomic factors is a factor that affect the operations of most of those markets. Ill-out market is a little bit functional. Core market, I think, is a little bit functional. Factor is the conflict, which affect livestock marketing, is conflict. Those hotspot areas, the Torbi. So how do we invest in conflict resolution mechanism so that our people coexist harmoniously and some of those markets? Then the other factor is that affect the marketing bit is financial aspects. Do our people have financial muscles, or the traders, do they have financial muscles to really buy and sell, invest in the livestock marketing, sale of the livestock? Yes, we have financial institutions like First Community Bank giving Mifugo Biashara or Kilimo Biashara by equity. These products are there. And despite the fact that they are actually inaccessible, one, there are the issues around Sharia compliance, and also the cultural aspect really come in. People fear to take those loans in these institutions. So how people to have to improve access to some of those loans? It's an issue that we really need to consider. Then the other aspect is market information. For the traders that we have in this county, they have limited market information. For example, and the market requirements. What does market demand? Even if we sell those old aged cows, specifically female cows, yeah, when they are already out of market because of the age and all those kinds. So how do we provide market information to our people so that to say the Dagoretti market requires 2-year-old calf, 2-year-old bull, 3-year-old bull with soft meat and all those kind of. So these kind of information in terms of the market demand and market requirement, the price information is something that we really need going forward, work on, and they bargain for those things. So those are some of the strategies that we will put in place to address some of those. So I propose, it will be among the first things that I'll do. I'll invite for stakeholders workshop, of course, on livestock marketing, and come up with a market operation plan for this county. Yeah. Then very low. One thing. One, staffing is one major challenge, and of course we have those with certificate and diploma holders, and I think they are also less than 10. That is why the issues of the internship that this house came up with, the third county assembly came up with the issue. And I'm happy to note that more than 20 veterinarians and diploma holders and certificate holders will be on board very soon. So we will going to post them in some of those areas. In most of our areas, they were called community and health workers. I'm sure the Kenya Veterinary Board is. As our content is concerned, their responsibility and their role is really critical in terms of disease reporting. There's an outbreak of disease in Ilret. We've trained a number of them, I'm sure, but they are not really remunerated. There's no motivation for them. So how do we really motivate these people so that they report outbreak of any disease for timely response? medicines. From the onset, I think the sector seems to be underfunded, even during the time of before devolution and even after devolution. Check, out of 9 billion, how much was allocated to the veterinary and livestock sector? And we did some costed work plan for this sector around 2016. And for us to adequately provide but of course, with more, we did a costed work plan for this for Marsabit County, and for us to adequately provide veterinary services in terms of surveillance, in terms of vaccinations, and in terms of diagnosis and all, we need around 25 million per year. That's the requirement from our costed work plan for 2016. I'm sure the demand, the budget we expect to have also increased to around 40 million. So check how much was really allocated to this sector. The question of abattoir, Honorable Chair. Jack, Honorable Jack, please, what was the question around the abattoir?
I think it was about
How do you revive?
maybe they can add like why was it not completed? I think,
Yes,
and then
why?
what do you do so that it can be completed in the simplest terms?
Abattoir is one of the flagship projects that was in manifestos of the first county government. Actually, it's the only project that target to benefit the pastoralists in this county. And for us to really modernize this sector and provide opportunities for employment, opportunities for income, it was worth then that we invest in the abattoir. It's not only an abattoir. For clarification, it is the entire livestock marketing complex that we decided at that particular time. With the establishment of livestock cooperative societies or holding grounds in 4 or 5 strategic locations in this county. And then through the Department of Cooperative, building the capacity of those cooperatives to manage the entire holding ground with the screening centers, with the feeding centers, with water infrastructures. Ambalo was one of the proposed sites. Uri Hills was one of the proposed sites for the holding grounds. Mount Kulal, the regions around Mount Kulal was one of the proposed sites. The Jaldesa Budas corridor, so we proposed 4 or 5 sites for this investment, so that once we strengthen the capacities of those cooperative society, any pastoral producer can go and sell their livestock to the cooperative society, where livestock are kept there for screening, for also fattening, for a period of like 3, 4, 5 months. Then linking the same to the abattoir and the same to the markets that we established. And of course, at the abattoir, we also established quarantine stations supported by a donor. That is the DRLSP, to the tune of around 70 million. And we came up with the idea of abattoir, and we also mobilized resources and a number of things. Yes, it is true that the project has installed, but as for me, I left the project when it was almost, the abattoir was, the superstructure of the abattoir was 90% done. And in terms of equipping, we had an agreement with the World Bank to do the equipping of the abattoir. And then we had a number of strategies also to really operationalize it. In terms of the powering, we engaged the GIZ. In terms of, we were to do human resource policy. In terms of water development in Shegel and those areas, we also engaged World Bank, which did like 2 boreholes in those sites. So we came up with this. And as for me, I handed over the project to Dr. Sori, who really took over from me. Since then, what happened, I really don't know. I've never been to Segel. And in terms of, and I'm hearing it's also stalled, and the strategy that I have is, this is one of the vital projects we need to really revive. Because huge investment have gone into this. We can't afford to lose all those billions and millions of dollars. We can't afford to lose such a brilliant idea. And I will engage with the executive and other stakeholders to come up with a reoperation plan and see how to take the matter up. Because even the national government has a huge interest in the abattoir, in the livestock, modernizing livestock sector. They have a huge interest in CDC has a huge interest in abattoir, and a number of donors are really interested in really chip in those things. So we will come up with an abattoir reoperation plan.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
We'll have a last question from Commissioner Masiba.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Before that, anyone else? So that we can have, okay, last question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dr. Alcano?
Yes, sir.
One of the requirements of your appointment was that you must demonstrate a thorough understanding and commitment to the value and principles as outlined in the Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya. Principles of governance in Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya. My second question.
Yes.
Is it okay I go?
Yes.
Once you are approved and get into the office, you will be involved in budget making process, county budget making process. So I want you to widely explain and describe
Thank you. Through the chair, the values and principles in line with Article 10 of the Constitution. One, I'm a resident of this county, and I love this county. I'm a patriotic to it.
Thank you.
So that's one principle that I need to promote in line with Article 10. Then the other principle, 14 or more ethnic communities, we are settling in regions, and in terms of program targeting, I will ensure that I will embrace diversity in all my engagements. Then the other aspect is embracing professionalism, meeting the standards in line with constitutions and in line with Marsabit County codes of conduct and ethics. So I will embrace professionalism in line with Kenya Veterinary Board guidelines as a veterinarian, professionalism. Then accountability and transparency in all my engagements, because I'll be handling finances. So I'll be accountable, of course, to the people. I'll be accountable to the executive and also to this honorable house. And I'll be transparent in the entire processes. Then promoting efficiency and effectiveness. Ensure that anything I do, there is value for money in it. So those are some of the principles that I will embrace in line with Chapter 10 of the Constitution. Then budget making process.
For the purposes of time, just tell us the stages of the budget. Stages. Don't go into details. The stages.
One is coming up with initiating the idea, the budget, the critical. Of course, you start with an assessment. For example, assessments of the needs of the community as the department. Assessments of you come up with the idea, and then you go to the public of the department and the needs of the public, and then you come up with those draft budget, and then share with the Department of Finance with those proposals. Finance also still goes to the public, get those informations, consolidate those budgets, and then of course share the budget draft with the assembly for debate, approvals, and then send it back to the executive to be sent to the controller of budget in Nairobi.
There are some online questions. I don't know whether you are aware we are streaming online. Eh?
Yes.
And there are also other people who are following us. So there's a valid question here. And if this is regard to your previous position that you held.
Yes.
At the time you have been chief officer for livestock, how often were you doing livestock census? And if so, are there programs you initiated to ensure that livestock census are done at a certain period of time? Was there a bill supporting livestock census that it was initiated?
No. I served as a chief officer between 2013 to early 2018, and of course livestock census usually coincide with the population census, human population census, and some information on livestock, number of livestock which are being held by household were usually concurrently done. So the census happened in 2019, and during 2019, and some information on the number of livestock in this county are actually available with the Kenya Bureau of Standards, which conducted livestock. Of course, the next one is 2029, and I'm aware that the national government is really willing to really invest in this, to take an opportunity to do the livestock census come the year 2029.
Good.
Yeah.
I think the last one is about two questions. Pending bills. You know that pending bills are on inflation in the whole county.
Mm.
Why do you think the Department of Agriculture has a pending bill? Have you had this experience of pending bill at the time when you were chief officer? What will you do differently to handle pending bills? What skills could you come in to ensure that the pending bills issue is solved? And the other aspect is, final one, based on your experience and your personal strengths, tell me 3 things that you will do within 100 days being in office upon approval.
Pending bill. I can comfortably say I left minimum pending bill. I cannot per se it was a pending bill then, because it is balances of some of the projects which were partly accomplished. And I believe that such monies are transferred to certain accounts so that once somebody gets the final certifications, they are paid. So I left around, I think around 22 million US dollars, but not completely unpaid, but part which is the balances of part of the work which has been done and has been certified by the respective committees. So it wasn't such a pending bill. And one of the major causes, 1, 2, 3, 4 major causes of some of those pending bills is non-alignment of procurement plan with the approved budget and the approved and the cash flow. They are not really aligned. It's one major challenge. The procurement plan, cash flow, and the approved budget. And to some extent, there is some level of also diversions, of course, of this fund and sort of level of payment. So those are the two causes of pending bill. So for me, I will ensure that whatever things I commit is in line with the procurement plan and is in line with the financial flow and is in line with the approved budget. That's one thing I will really ensure. And of course, the other cause of pending bill is delayed disbursement of fund by national government. To some extent, also delay approval supplementary budget. You've made some commitment at the departmental level, but supplementary budget really coming, and the process of procurement continues. In the long run, the things are supplied, and yet there is no money for it. So there are those things, and then also failure to honor political interference in terms of failure to honor, especially during the period of devolution, can lead to really accumulation of pending bill.
Wonderful. I would like to invite you to
Yes,
One last one. Of our ongoing program. I will undertake review of ongoing program to see the progress of the program in terms of implementations, in terms of financial management. If there are any pending bills, the suppliers are really paid. Then the other aspect is review of the policy documents. Of course, there are a number of policies which have been passed. Those policies which are passed within 90 days. Draft form, of course, will still come back to these honorable committees, and then we discuss the implementations in terms of taking it through the process of approval. Strategy for the department in terms of advocating to the executive just before the end of this financial year. I'm sure this honorable house will discuss the budget issue. So before that, once I step into the office, I'm looking for the kind discussions, and given an opportunity, once this committee and the house approves, I pledge to provide high quality services in terms of modernizing livestock sectors and reviving the economy of Marsabit County. Thank you.
Wonderful. My final remarks is upon approval, I wish you all the best. And again,
Thank you very much.
you are Daktari, you are invited for